Hey everybody, it's Michelle from the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center, and today I'm hanging out outside of Diego and Dakota's enclosure. Diego and Dakota are our two Mexican wolves, sometimes referred to as the Mexican gray wolf. And I have some really exciting news about Mexican gray wolves out in the wild. So we are part of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We are a certified organization. So we're super excited that means that we can participate in programs like SAFE, which is Saving Animals from Extinction. So Diego and Dakota, our Mexican wolves, along with Shawnee and Fender, our two red wolves, they are part of that SAFE program. So although we are not part of that breeding program, Shawnee being our red wolf, has already had litters in the past, so she did help create that species here in human care to help with the reintroductions in the wild. Now Diego and Dakota, they used to be overrepresented in the wild for their genetics. However, just recently they are no longer, so they could very well potentially be used in future breeding programs for Mexican wolves, which is very exciting. So Diego and Dakota, being that they are Mexican wolves, originally they were part of that cross-fostering program. So what that means is that they were actually born in the wild, and then instead of living out their lives in the wild, human caretakers took puppies that were born in human care and they placed them into the dens of wild wolves, and then they just did a pup swap basically. So this means that way they can have better genetics in the wild and just better genetics in human care as well. It helps with that genetic diversity because unfortunately for our Mexican wolves, they almost went completely extinct by the time we decided to actually save their species. In fact, there are only 7 founding members from that breeding program. So very, very small gene pool, which is why U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is always very careful to make sure that their genetics are not overrepresented in the wild or in human care, which has been very successful so far. So the reason I wanted to go ahead and talk to you about our Mexican wolves today is because for the 9th consecutive year in the row, the Mexican wolf population in the wild has actually grown, and it is at a high now of 286 wolves in the wild between Arizona and New Mexico, which is very exciting. So historically, Mexican wolves did live all the way from Mexico itself all throughout the American Southwest, but unfortunately, as we did with many of our wolves, we did extirpate them from their native range a long time ago. So having this breeding program under the Saving Animals from Extinction program has really helped save that species, especially with that cross-fostering, and we're just really excited to see all of this really wonderful success with our Mexican wolves in the wild. To tell you a little bit about Mexican wolves themselves, they are the smallest subspecies of gray wolf. So males like Diego and Dakota, they usually top out around 80 pounds at the most. Females, of course, are going to be smaller, about 60 pounds, 65 pounds. So they still have the same type of pack structure as all of our other wolves. They do live in those family units, mom, dad, and their offspring. But because these guys are desert dwellers, or they have a warmer climate, they do have some of those special adaptations. So they have a little bit shorter coats. They do just fine out here in our winters. We have somewhat mild winters here in Divide. So they also have much bigger ears than some of our other wolves do, just to help dissipate that heat in those summer months, to help them withstand temperatures up to 120 degrees. So very well built for their environments. And then as far as Diego and Dakota, you can see they're really excited because they're about to get fed dinner. But you might have noticed that their enclosure is also different from our other wolf enclosures, and that is because they are owned by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So they are required to be kept in these chain link fences versus our fencing. So only difference is that this has a lot of lean-ins, and it also has those same dig guards that we have, but it is that heavy gauge chain link fencing with the lean-ins so that they can't jump out, or of course, like all of our enclosures, has that dig guard so they can't dig out either. So next week is going to be Coyote Awareness Week, and we're really excited to do that. So we're going to be posting a lot about coyotes, and then you're going to get a chance to see Kit and Cricket on next week's video. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll be excited to go ahead and fill those out for you. And looks like they're getting dinner right now. Get it!